everyone. Welcome to another special Saturday edition of the Prestige Junkie Podcast. I've got another conversation with an Emmy contender, and so great that I added a whole extra bonus episode so you could get to hear it. Today, you're going to hear my conversation with Adam Brody. He is a first-time Emmy nominee this year for his lead performance in Netflix's Nobody Wants This. But he's already actually won an award for this show. Back in February, I was standing backstage at the Critics' Choice Awards. I had gone to the bathroom. There was nothing special about me. But he had just won the award for lead actor in a comedy. And at the time, I really felt like I was watching him process in real time what this moment was like and what it was like to get to this point after more than 20 years of an acting career. So I asked him about what he really was thinking in that moment, and then some thoughts about what his relationship has been like to awards in general, including his Teen Choice Awards surfboard he won in 2005. He told me where that surfboard is today, at least as far as he knows. We also talked about what it took to embody his character of Noah on the show, who lives in a really specific part of Los Angeles in a world that Adam knows really well, but he also admits it is prettier and a little bit better dressed than maybe the real thing. I have loved Adam Brody a long time. A lot of us have, and I'm so excited to share this conversation. So now you can hear from the Emmy-nominated star of Nobody Wants This, Adam Brody. At the Critics' Choice Awards in February, I was backstage, I had gone to the bathroom, and as you well know, you kind of come backstage after you get your award, and was standing there next to you. You were talking to somebody else. We did not speak, but kind of while you were processing what had just happened, and it seemed like a real processing moment. And I'm curious about, was it as surreal, being up on that stage as it seemed watching it from that moment?
Absolutely. I've said this before, and I don't mean in any way to minimize my wedding or my marriage, but it is one of those. It's just one of those ceremonial things that it's just people talking. It's just a ritual. You know what I mean? It's nothing physical is actually really happening, except you've seen it performed so much. And then suddenly you're doing it, kind of having an out-of-body experience. Because that was, that's really the first award I've won. So yeah, it's just that kind of, it's an iconic thing, and you're having an out-of-body experience, but also in it. And it was really great. I mean, the other thing is it's a little embarrassing to admit is how nice it is, because on one hand, I really I don't look back and go, who won this? As if it, as if it has any reflection of relevance to my own taste or what I think was good. And yet it's very nice to be invited to the dance. And it's also very nice to receive an award. I think that's also pretty universal.
Yeah. Is it true that you did get a Teen Choice Award surfboard somewhere in there? I got
a grip of those, but
okay. Where is that? Where do you put that?
I left those in my dressing room at the OC, and I don't, no disrespect to the Teen Choice Awards, but they were on Fox. We were on Fox. It didn't. And I'm not saying it was rigged. I'm just saying at all. I'm just saying, I don't know. It didn't. It
was advantageous for everyone involved for you to take home that surfboard.
Yeah, and I just, I think that people, whatever. Just even had I not been on Fox, still, I think I was old enough to take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, yeah, because you were 25, 26, at that point. That's a real distance from teens.
Yeah. I was mid-20s, early to later 20s throughout that show. And, super nice.
That might be the time in your life when you have the least tolerance for teens. Now, older, I feel like they're fascinating to me. But, in your 20s, it's just very much oh, no. You're not my people.
Well, at least in terms of wanting to be there, you want adults' approval. You want to be recognized as adults. And now, you have kids and it comes full circle and you're like, oh, that if I could impress my kids through, appealing to their demographic, wouldn't that be something?
Well, then you learn that if you try out slang, it's going to be the exact opposite impact of getting their approval. And there's power in that too.
My kids are still too young. There's nothing, slang really hasn't entered my house yet.
I have a 6-year-old who says Sigma and like might know what it means and might not.
I don't know
It's
what that.
like,
I don't know. Do you know what it means? I don't.
Good. Vaguely, it means good, but
Good,
that's
okay.
me getting it from my 6-year-old who I don't know that he knows what it means.
And he would say, that's Sigma?
Yeah, or like a Sigma boy is a thing. Hopefully people are listening to this and like really carbon dating our ages here of being old and out of touch, which I don't know. I take as an honor at this point in life.
Absolutely.
We've gotten far enough to be old and out of touch. Okay, so to talk about nobody. Yeah, exactly. To talk about Nobody Wants This, in reading some stories about you from when the show came out, it seemed like there was a disagreement between you and Kristen Bell and Aaron Foster about whether or not you're picky about what you do. Like, they had said, oh, Adam, he's really picky. He's not necessarily going to do anything. And it didn't seem like you quite felt that way, that picky really described it. And I wonder if you kind of settled on, like, what that meant for you, what does make you choose something, and how selective you are about that, or at least were when the show was coming to you.
Yeah, I think I'm very opinionated, and I think I'm, I curate what I like, So yeah, I've got a lot of opinions about what books and music and movies and television I like and why. But in terms of what I do, I think I'm much more pragmatic. I don't have the luxury of being, too pretentious.
Sure.
And
everyone's got to work.
Yeah, and in general, the irony, if it is irony, is that I end up having as good a time or better. The quality of what I'm making doesn't really relate too much to the time I'm having making it. I can have a great time making some of the worst things I've done. So, so yeah, picky. I just, but listen, that is a reputation I love. Sure. If I am,
I see.
you know what I mean?
Put that out there. Yeah.
I don't think I put it out there, but if they want, and I'm not, I am disputing it, but it's like in general, if that's, if I am in any way seen as incredibly discerning and hard to get, cool.
I mean, you say you're opinionated about, the personal stuff that you like, but, sometimes you say an actor is opinionated, and that's a lot of people being like, sit down, you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to do what the director tells you to do. And as an up-and-coming actor, I imagine you encounter a lot of that. So how do you get to where you can have opinions and work in a place where it makes a difference in where you're working? It doesn't make people say, this kid doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't know. I never felt too shut out of the process, to be honest with you. Even going back to the OC, and only, I only feel more included now, and I think part of that is, of course, age and having built a career or a resume, but at the same time, it's just age purely in the sense of my collaborators are now all my age and I've worked with them before, or they're younger oftentimes, and so I just, it used to be like us kids and then the grownups making the thing, and then that slowly changed. And so, and it's exciting that, I feel like we as a generation kind of have the reins right now. Yeah.
I think about that a lot with media and like the job that I have, where it's like, I feel like we're still the people who are like trying to make it up. And then you look around you and you're like, oh no, they're in charge. Like we're in charge now. Like, it's, I think, important to acknowledge it and like use that power in some ways, which it feels like you are.
Yeah. And so, I mean, listen, as a practical matter, there's only so much they need from you, even as a lead of a show. It's like, they don't really want you to weigh in on every music choice, and it's not your job. And like, and so it's not that I don't envy sometimes producers or directors or the side of it where you're not just performing, but I mean, I have a lot of fun and a lot of creative satisfaction from like a wardrobe fitting, where you're talking about it, you're intellectualizing. I'm not performing right now. We're just intellectualizing something together. And that's a great creative outlet too. I don't need to just entertain,
Yeah. So how are the wardrobe fittings for Nobody Wants This? What was your big insight there?
I think we were in sync right away. I do have one. This is just what works for me a little bit in the larger sense, and Nobody Wants This factors in. But I do find that, and this has been the last decade or so, that like I've gotten pretty far with like watches and rings and my hands, and I think the reason I think this is sort of interesting, but I think this is actually not really a big deal. But it's like, as an actor, it's the only part of yourself you can see. So like, I
Yeah.
look down, I did remember
Yeah.
like I had like tattoos on my knuckles, and I was like, I look down and I'm like, oh, I feel that. This is informing me as I talk. But
Yeah.
more than that, I just think, I don't know. I think a watch can say a lot, and so I've had in a series of things I've done, or no watch or whatever. But
Yeah.
and anyway, so for Nobody Wants This, I mean, if I have a signature look, to me, it's this like I wanted like an old leather timepiece that
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to literally be a heirloom from the Holocaust, but you know what I mean,
Sure.
something with some real history that was generational.
Yeah, and reflects
And
being in the presence of older generations a lot, which
yes, and
I
is
think no is like dealing with a lot of
scholarly,
people.
and
Mm-hmm.
yes, scholarly and generational and passed down in lineage
Yeah.
and history. And to me, that plus, he has a Jewish Star of David chain, which, like, on
Mm-hmm.
one hand, the Star of David obviously says a lot, and on the other hand, I actually think the chain does its own thing, where when you're not seeing the Star of David and you're seeing the chain, it's a little,
Mm-hmm.
forgive me, but like, dare I say, has a little sex appeal macho-ness to it when it's not being a
I think it's okay to say,
all right,
yeah.
when it's not being a Star of David and it's kind of being a chain.
Maybe when it is. I don't,
And
people go for all
when
kinds
it
of things.
and maybe when it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, I don't know. It's like, not beyond even clothing, like jewelry and accessories can do a lot, I guess, is to answer the question. And so no big new learned insight, but
Yeah.
my watch is his most precious, my precious possession of his.
Yeah, which I assume is back in season 2. Like the
Yeah,
not
yeah.
knowing what's changed in season 2, but there are things that we keep with ourselves for our lives. I mean, the world of Nobody Wants This is like, I mean, Erin Foster obviously makes it so specific to a world that she knows, but you've lived in LA for almost your whole life. Like, I assume it's a really familiar world to you too, to the point that any detail that's not right, these people wouldn't wear this, these people wouldn't walk down the street. Like, you have to get all of it right for it to feel like the place that you know pretty well.
Yes, and yet I find this show, to as grounded as it is, to also be not fantasy. That's too hard, but
Yeah.
it's I don't find it so grounded that I'm getting too bogged down in geography, or it's like,
Oh,
if the
sure.
I'm interested in the truth, the emotional truth of the characters. And other than that, I do feel like it has a sense of place because of the authors, and because we're filming all on location, which is great, in
Yeah.
Los Angeles. So we're not having to fake anything. We just are literally in Los Angeles, which does a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm certainly not too meticulous, nor do I find the show too meticulous about, the Los Angeles details. I do like that we sort of name drop a lot of places and go to them. And
Yeah.
I think that's fun for all involved.
Yeah, everything's probably a little like cleaner, and the light's always a little bit better on the show than it might be in reality. It's polished in some way.
Yeah, it's not that anything strikes me as very inauthentically LA.
Do you
Yeah,
guys get
I'm
stuck in
just
traffic? Like, I'm trying to think if it's like, if
no, never
in a
been.
way that's,
We're never even
yeah,
driving, really. So that's part of it. You do a fiction of this isn't LA so much, but it's like anywhere of like, you do a lot less texting than you would in real life, and a lot
I
more, I
know.
needed to go talk to you in person.
Yeah, I had this covered. I was talking to someone who's on Shrinking about this, about how on that show they all hang out in person all the time, and it's like
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
our real lives we're texting our friends. It's like, oh, we should really get together. And there's something nice about a TV show where everyone sees each
Yeah.
other. Like,
I'll
what
give
a
another
concept.
I'll give another reason, back to wardrobe, where it's a little fantasy, but I understand. We don't repeat clothes that much.
Yeah.
And I like both versions. I understand, for me, I love a hero outfit in a movie or a
Mm-hmm.
set of time where I'm like, no, this is the jacket, and etc. But I also understand, especially in a show where they're like, it's this type of clothes, but actually the audience wants to see, we're not going to worry about the realities of this person's actual bank account.
Yeah.
A lot of different versions of this and colors of this in this palette. And so, yeah, that's another way where, wardrobe, I'm happy to indulge, even though I repeat a lot of pants and stuff and a few sweaters. But in general, it's like,
Okay.
if this was real and I was being a stickler for reality, I would,
Yeah.
or even trying to imbue one outfit with a lot of, meaning. And
Sure.
I don't mean
Sure.
backstory, but just like, no, this is this character's sweater.
Yeah.
Favorite sweater. That's a way to go. But I'm very much indulging in the sort of fantasy of these people have endless closets, and I guess
Yeah.
which is also why, in a way, I cling to the watch a lot, and
That's true. Like a real
and the
touchstone.
necklace. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you hear, I think I read the story of the costume designer behind the red date outfit that Kristen has in the first episode, and like how it stands out and how hard it was and how they fixed it. And when you hear about like the amount of angles they think of it that we in real life when we get dressed would never think about, you're like, God, no wonder like there's a whole wardrobe of this. Everyone has thought through so much of this.
Yeah, I mean that's the other. Yeah, I mean, not only are they mapping the story and the arc and the emotional, where everyone is emotionally, they're also dealing with 10 people and like not wanting to, keeping everyone separate unless they should not be, and it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
they're always and getting new pages and fitting for the next day, and sometimes covering up a growing pregnancy, and there's just a lot.
Yeah, you guys had a sex scene on a previous show while she was pregnant. Did I read that rightly? That is a wild experience.
Yeah. But that was wild. But I'm in this case, Justine was
Justine, right, of
progressively
course.
pregnant for the first season.
Yeah.
But yes,
Good for her.
which is funny because now she's really gotten to come out of her shell the second season, wardrobe wise.
That's true. What a thrill for her.
Yeah.
I mean, for season 2, like you're talking about filming on location, like you guys are walking down streets, like now people know what this show is. Was the experience of trying to go out there and shoot in Los Angeles different now that this show has been seen by so many people?
For whatever reason, filming a scene, I don't care. I'm not too worried about if it's public or if it's crowds or if there's, I'm not embarrassed because there's like 100 people and we're working and you're still somewhat insulated and yet, unfortunately, I do it a lot less. But if it's like a photo shoot, if you're modeling, I hate, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I do not want to be in a public, setting.
Are red carpets like that? Or is that enough of like a standard space where you have to pose and you know the expectations?
Red carpet is different. That doesn't feel embarrassing. We're all there. Although that has its own, well, I shouldn't say. Red carpet's pretty awkward. It's pretty awkward because, the carpet particularly, because, they're just screaming at you. You get dressed up and then they scream at you.
Nicely, but yes, they're screaming. Is it easier in your 40s than in your 20s when you have people screaming at you? It has to be, right?
So much easier. I think that I have just gotten much more confidence at sort of chaperoning and less even than a red carpet, which is easy enough. That's always been easy enough. It's just, it's a little awkward, but you do it and it's fine.
There's
it's
rules.
Also
There's a place you go, the thing you got to do.
Step
and
here,
you
you stand there. And it's by the way, it's also exciting. You're there to celebrate something. You're there to be celebrated. You're there, you dressed up. Like, I don't mean it's a drag. It's like that 10 minutes is somewhat awkward. But by the time I get to even the interview line, I'm actually enjoying myself. Yeah. By the time I'm interviewing, I'm actually like having a good time. And then you see people, The other trick about it is like you're in the middle of an interview, but you see someone that you haven't seen in a while and you want to say hi, or you just see like a famous person you're in the same, and like there's a lot, it's a lot going on and it's kind of hard to focus. But as an older person, as a 45-year-old in general, and certainly on the street, it's gotten a lot easier. I just feel much more, I think, adult at how to interact and how to chaperone the interaction, and how to quickly judge like how much time do I give this? How authentic is this person being versus and I also think the demographic coming up changes and is older in general, which is a little more, I guess, they're polished too. You know what I mean? And
we've all gotten older together and we figured it out. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting, but it's not, you have to decide, like, sometimes it's being like, it's a lot of like passive aggression coming your way or being like insulted it's a little bit of a power dynamic where a lot of people, not a lot, but a fair amount through the years will I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Are you on something? A lot of that. And you go like, how
crazy.
a lot of it.
Crazy
and you're
thing
like,
to say to somebody.
yeah. And you go, how do I want to engage this? What do I want to do with this here? And there's a whole spectrum of that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, or I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but they said you, and like, could I get could I get a picture? Things like that. And where they're trying to kind of knock you down a size or make themselves feel a little,
Sure. I'm too good to
and
watch TV. I don't know who you are.
Yeah. But my friend does, and she wonders if you would go take a picture of her. And, it's like, maybe. Anyways, it depends on the time and place. Also, last thing I'll say, but having kids, ironically, makes it a lot easier to be able to set your boundaries.
Oh, to be able to say, I'm not doing this right now. We're doing something
or
else.
I can. It's not that that's like I never would if I had kids, there. I've a lot of times been like, can you guys scoot over and I'm going to go do it? But probably most of the time I do that. But also it's very easy to be like, I can't.
Yeah. Also, parenting you have to set boundaries with kids all the time. It teaches us something for ourselves too, being like, nope, this is not going to happen.
And I think in general, people are more respectful not more respectful, but mostly in general, people are very respectful. And like I said, how nice, even most of these experiences would have people want to take a picture. It's actually very nice.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for my life, and I'm even thankful for celebrity. But in general, I think people give you more space when you're with your kids. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Last question to wrap it up. Have you figured out your Emmy plans yet? Do you have an outfit? Do you have an after party? Do you know who all you're taking with you? Anything?
I'm going to take my wife.
Good plan.
I'm very excited. I'm a huge boxing fan. And so there's like the fight of the decade coming the night before in Vegas.
Wow.
It's on Netflix. So I am,
it's like the Teen Choice Awards in the OC. It's all fitting together.
And Tim Simons is going to come, and my wife and his wife, and I think Netflix is even going to take us. Anyways, I'm going to get a seat that I would never get, or I would never. They're so expensive to have a great seat at a big fight.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it'd be an awesome big whirlwind weekend. What I'm wearing, still in the works, but rest assured it's a tuxedo. And and then parties, I don't know. I remember I went 2 years ago with Fleischman Is in Trouble, and the party, I'll just say this. The Emmys and the party, and I don't know if it'll be the same this year, but I imagine it were incredibly not intimate.
Those rooms are huge.
They was huge, and then the party was like 3 football fields.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm looking at the party after that. I don't know what that's going to be. But,
the after party.
Yeah.
That does it for today's special Saturday bonus episode. We'll be back on Tuesday with another regular show returning to our fall preview series. This podcast is edited by Brett Fuchs and produced by Brett Fuchs and me. Our theme music is by Dave Gonzalez. Subscribe to the Prestige Junkie newsletter at theankler.com and subscribe to this podcast at Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us at Prestige Junkie After Party to see the video version of this conversation, get access to more bonus episodes, and a whole lot more. In the meantime, we'll see you next week.